Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations, on Luigi Band 64D. Alright. In the last episode we were in a trial. At the very least, about to start a trial. Yep. Hey, Nick! What is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial! Well, it is a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door! Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atmy's trial today! Detective Atmy? They say they're going to try him as Master Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Master Mask's trial. I know. By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She says she can't neglect her training anymore. I know you don't like me. Pearls has really gotten in training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please! Don't ignore me! Oh, Mr. Delight! Good morning! No one likes me. No one would notice me even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No! I'm just a poor thief! No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be poor. Now, let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending him to help him commit these heists. So do you think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick? It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. Huh? We gotta really speed through this. We can't afford to be fast. We can't be careless. Court is now in session for the trial of Ron Delight. Defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down now. Let's begin with the opening statement, Mr. Godot. Oh, he's got the judge in the palm of his hands yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godot. Huh. Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war, but that is exactly why you must be more precise with your word. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes. Well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Caden Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 a.m. the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated at 1 a.m. of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Godot. Please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Godot, your witness. Okay then. Let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage of having your defendant testify, but I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do a cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify. You've got guts, Troit. Alright then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand. Didn't you? Yes. What? No, that's not true! For a moment there, I thought I'd set a record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with the face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail on his own coffin. Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, that's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could. Oh. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. Well, my visit to KB Security. That evening, around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I've been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. That's all? 1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it, the strong drink it up. That's bitter today, too. Just like my destiny. You never know what that from the way he's chugging it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. Alright. I'm not much to work with. That evening, around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard at his office at KB Security. 1 a.m., huh? You're absolutely sure about that? Yes, that's what my watch said when I was entering the CEO's office. No. Actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow, and my internal clock was also a bit. 1 a.m. That's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered, correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. It ordered you there? It was the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They say things like, steal this or take that. Why don't you say this for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now, what should I do? I need more info to work with, so... So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money. A perfect motive for committing crime. Oh, but wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway. Oh, is that right? After all, he had nothing to do to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Yes, sir. Money about Skipper and outer space had a better chance of surviving this than I do. The blackmail letter, the thread, didn't scare me. Threat. I'm pretty sure it's threat, not thread. It wasn't going to cause me trouble or anything. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway? The blackmail letter said, if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask-to-mask thing. But I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me. He didn't? Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Desi believes in me. So that's why Miss Delight didn't believe he was mask-to-mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. I'd been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yes, that's right. A security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject. Why were you fired? Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well... The world is filled with those who have said, I wish I'd never asked that. Okay, then I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Desiree loves to spend, and it's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? Her salary wasn't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company. Come again? KD Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was the security team chief, you stole some data, and so I really wish I hadn't asked this question. Mr. Bullet found out and I was fired immediately. What?! I wish I had not asked that! I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I had quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You do well to remember that. He sure told you. So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct? Yes, I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse, crashed and blew up. You know, it's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. Oh goodness. He fired me for selling company secrets, but Desi doesn't know about that. What? Why would you do something like that? Well, for Desi's hobby, what else? Wasting money, huh? Stop waste! So Miss Delight doesn't know that her husband was fired, does she? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. Yeah, I can't believe it either. This case has even gotten even mine to think seriously about couples. I'm not supposed to have secrets like that. Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright. Sorry. That wasn't much testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Uh-oh. I got a bad feeling about this. We'd better be careful. But if we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. Okay. So, I wanted to ask about the other point of him being fired. Oh. Wrong segment. Yeah, this part. I want to press him more about that. Because I know I still can press him. Or not. Okay, this is it. Maybe. So what were you being blackmailed about anyway? This blackmail letter said, if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask to mask thing.
Objection!
I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore. What do you mean? The victim had no proof the defendant was mask to mask. But you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over once I was fired! But it was true that the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps. Even so, there was no reason for me to pay up now a whole year later! Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data. I wonder if he could have had a problem with that if that ever became public knowledge. Actually, he would. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to do by bullying your own client? Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. What does that have to do with anything? That's exactly right. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes, now come on, provide some evidence to back up your assertions. Why would Mr. Delight want to keep his data secret, stealing from going public? Because of his beloved Desi. Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match with what you told me yesterday. Uh-huh? What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. A certain person? Mm-hmm. Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. But listen to me! My Desi, she's... looks like we just sit back and relax. The fun will end before it truly begins. Ah, Godot! Yes, we know. It's all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how the murder came about. Oh. No! Everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that! Or you'll be sorry! Don't make threats like that, sir. Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far. What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us! We're all ears. At the CEO's office. When I entered this office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. I see. Suddenly hit you on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said the Master Mask struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Amy turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Huh. No one's going to believe that pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked! We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Wright? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If you see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. I know this testimony will be alright. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Who was this suspicious shadow? If there were 1,000 of me, and even if one knew, I'd tell you, trust me. He's dodging all of our questions and not helping us win his case. Okay, then how was the victim, Mr. Bullard, at the time? What do you mean by how was he? Was he already dead? Was he still alive? Maybe he was the one who hit you in the first place. That's a good question. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Forget it. Suddenly I was hit in the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. Your forehead? Yes, I was hit on the forehead as soon as I entered the room. It was an amazingly fast and powerful attack. Do you remember anything about who hit you? Well, like I said, it was a fast and powerful hit. So I think I was a little dazed for a while. I don't think Mr. Delight even grasped at what you were asking. Yeah, I'd like to show him a fast and powerful attack myself. Maybe that would knock some sense back into him. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. That? Could you please clarify what you're referring to? Why, my Master Mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment! Master Mask? Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, just as Master Mask! And then I descended upon the officer CEO of KB Security. What? Why? Nick, did you know about this? You never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning this to me either. Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loves to keep up secrets. Sorry, I just never had the chance to mention it up until now. Wait. Okay, that's not right. You know how sometimes I'm just... Huh. My sixth cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct her testimony. If I had been killed if I wasn't wearing my Master Mask costume. Why were you dressed up as Master Mask? But why? Because I'm Master Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Master Mask's trial is being held next door! Yes, I guess so. Anyway, at the time. I thought I was being blackmailed over the Master Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him, just to be safe. Oh, boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took it a lot longer than I expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about? I'm really curious. What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught in the safe door, you see. That's all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullet's body. What was that? Back up a second! Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Oh, come on! Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Well, yes? Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness! Make sure you add this to your testimony. Yes, sir. Uh-oh. Looks like the storm in front is moving in over the fair weather judge. He's getting really snappy. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. Why did you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in the drawer. That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw the corpse, I kinda lost it. I thought, if they find this corpse, they'll think I did it. I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him. That's why I spent 10 minutes hiding the body. That certainly makes more sense. Hold on, 10 minutes? What is it, Nick? I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide a body and spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under no circumstances. What circumstances? Oh! Hey, Nick, if you think his behavior was so strange, why don't you present some evidence that would show just what the circumstances were? That's it! I'll take a look at the court record, present some evidence. We heard this from Mr. Delight yesterday, didn't we? There's not much in this testimony either. I bet you he's still hiding something. I wouldn't be surprised. We still just have to draw it out of him. I just hope he doesn't make things any more complicated. Alright, now I think about it. My K2 bullet was lying there dead. I want to check this just in case. When you came to? Yes, I was passed out in the corner of the room. Do you know when your assailant made their escape, and to where? I'm afraid I don't really remember. Huh? Once they hit me, I lost all track of what was going on. I think that's when they made their escape. That's certainly a convenient story for you, isn't it? Certainly is, isn't it, Mr. Wright? It all sounds practiced. I don't know why you're telling me. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. Now here's the trick. During that night, last night, this buzzer went off exactly once. We have the proof of that right here. At 1:02, the buzzer went off. Which makes me think it's really strange. Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? This record for the emergency buzzer that connects to the CEO's office at security. If the button in the office is pressed, the security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. What? If Mr. Rondelight truly was the murderer, he would have run as soon as the buzzer sounded. After all, the security guard would be heading this way.
Objection!
Ha! Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He's probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building. Hold on. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working at the chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them. But as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. And the fact that the guard was a pathetic loser who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity was not something Mr. Delight could have known. Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off. What? This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Fine. Let's hear your theory. Thank you. Remember the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Delight didn't know what the buzzer was sounding. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what you're trying to say... What are you trying to say? Mr. Delight is knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right, whoever knocked out Rondelight and then pressed the buzzer. Order the court! Mr. Wright, this is preposterous. It was this kid. Rondelight is the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the crime scene, but how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? I can prove that all right. The defense's opinion is this. Your Honor, this piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who pressed the buzzer. If we check the buzzer, there's no fingerprints. I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence that you're looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there is absolutely no clues is itself a clue. Now I'm the one who's clueless! This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard was really pressing himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind.
Objection!
Rondelight obviously wiped them off. Why would he? A guard could have been coming at any moment. And he touched the button. I know he did. The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Master Mask. And Master Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have to wipe the buttons free from fingerprints? Order! 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 Would seem... I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number of crow-flavored coffee is. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves into extra danger? What's awkward silence all of a sudden? Looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. They're on to you, Nick. Just give me a moment to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard around 1 a.m. Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in there and the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. And even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed, security was supposed to respond. Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Very well then. Oh, you've got some guts. I like that, opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? To call a security guard. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say the killer called the guard on purpose? Yes. Although it turned out he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron Delight, who was out cold. And the third person, the real killer. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer! Yes, that is precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder. Order! 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 They seem... I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was the one who tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mask. Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But, who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So, the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard? None other than Svari! Detective Luke at me! He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective! Luke at me! You mean Master Mask did it? No. Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard! Order! Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself! Theft and murder. Which is the one more serious crime? They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime, subject to capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke at me confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, the famous detective was unmasked as, well, Master Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he found guilty for grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty. Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lowly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Atmy's airtight, watertight, unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict. Is an alibi? Hard to believe, but it's true. You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atmy's verdict. It's a pretty simple trial, after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course. That's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Luke Atmey's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds to appeal. Am I really sure about this? Yeah. A bet's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you! Mr. Delight. So, please! I'm begging you! Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix. What was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust. That voice. It sounds like... Mia! Your Honor! The defense requests an immediate recess! So that's your answer, huh? Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atmey to the stand. Yes, Your Honor. There's no turning back at all. Well, Sir Detective Atmey. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective Atmey. You were the one who... That's enough. The court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. The court finds the defendant, Luke Atmey... Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please! Well, Sir Lawyer. Welcome to my courtroom. Who's this hoser, eh? My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law. And I wish to file an accusation against that man, Luke Atmey. Accusation? You accuse Master Mask? That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. But what? Made it in time. The trial's not over yet. So close. Alright. Let's make this trial count. Let's do it. Let's play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. We're about to catch the real murderer. See you next time.